very good afternoon, everyone. With folded hands, I would like to start today's session by saying thank you. Thank you for joining for today's webinar. Thank you for trusting School of Inspirational Leadership. My name is Diksha Sharma. I represent School of Inspirational Leadership. School of Inspirational Leadership is a training, coaching, and consulting company for MSME business owners. The School of Inspirational Leadership aims to empower Indian MSMEs entrepreneurs to achieve their organizational goals. SIL is in the training industry for over a decade now, and we have helped over 24,000 plus businesses, 3 lakh plus employees to envision and achieve their business goals. And we have successfully completed 1,000 plus consulting projects. Recently, we have been recognized as the most trusted brand in SME by Economic Times. SIL is an approved training partner of National Skill Development Corporation. We serve MSME business owners in 3 ways: training, coaching, and consulting. And we work on a different pillars of the businesses, that is strategy, sales, operation, team, and employee training. Our today's navigator, Dr. Akshay Seth, is a thoughtful leader with 20 plus years of professional experience, known for his strategic approach. His core expertise has been in setting up learning academies, COs, L&Ds, sales and customer satisfaction interventions. Dr. Akshay Seth has worked in India and Africa, leading teams and diverse exposure in HR across industries. His mission is to develop 10,000 entrepreneurs, sales leaders into sales master by 2025 with a blueprint and a community. He has awarded as a business transformation coach and a powerful leader for contributing in growing family-run businesses. Our today's topic is high-ticket sales success. Dr. Akshay, before starting the webinar, I just wanted to ask you that what is this high-ticket selling is all about?
First of all, I'm so proud of you seeing on the screen. You are very good in introducing everyone and talking about the efforts that we have put in the MSME space. 2 questions. Am I audible? Is the screen okay? And are we good to go?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. So let me address this question over a period of next maybe 50 odd minutes and share with each one of you how different it is when you are selling a small value product or a service, and what are the things that we need to keep in mind while we are selling high value products or services. And how do we implement all of this? What are the things that we need to keep in mind while covering and ensuring that we work on all the aspects which are required to implement everything which is required on the so the first thing that we need to be mindful of is that and how many of you are salespeople? Say yes if you are. Write down S. Write down S if you are a person who's a high value product or service seller. Just write down S in the chat box. Fantastic. And my definition of high value products or sales is that you are selling something which is more than 25,000 rupees in one go, and where the decision is taken over a period of number of sales calls. So there are many people who are selling high value products or services. I want to start with fundamentally and decode the difference in between selling a low value product or service and selling a high value product or service. Many people, when they plan their sales calls, they fundamentally plan on what they are going to tell the customer. Yes or no? Many people who are ready to sell their products or services, they plan on what to tell the customer in a meeting. Yes, no? Just write down yes or no in the chat box. But high value sellers don't do that. High value products or services seller, they plan in a sales call on what they are going to ask instead of what they are going to tell the customer. Okay. And the reason is that before you tell and demonstrate your capability, if you have not understood the needs of the customer, the impact of your sales call would be very, very less. Do you agree with me? Yes or no? If you will advise something before understanding the requirements of the customer, your efforts to demonstrate the capability of your products or services will go in vain. Unless the customer wants what you have to offer, you will find it very, very difficult to get a commitment from the customer if you are in a high value sales scenario. Do you agree with me? Yes, no? Yeah. Keep this thing in mind that if you want to implement what I'm going to share today, as a high value seller, the first skill that we need to develop is to focus on the investigation stage. Are we good? Are you guys able to understand what I'm saying? आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि क्या कह रहा हूं मैं? हाँ? So what I'm going to do is now I will start sharing screen on what you need to do. What we need to do to become a high value seller. Step number one. Step number one is that you need to practice. Each one of you need to practice your questioning skills and other stages of the sales call generally take care of themselves in a high value sales scenario. If you know, each one of you, how to develop customer needs to get your customers to want the capabilities that you have to offer, then you are in the business of consultative sales. You are in the business of high ticket sales. And the key in becoming a consultative seller, the key in becoming a high ticket seller is you have to understand how do you use questions to uncover the needs. And if you do not know how to uncover the needs, then you will find it difficult to understand what I'm going to share in the next 40-45 minutes. That's my advice number one. That if you are in the business of high ticket selling, the first thing that you need to practice is your questioning skills. Okay? Because high ticket sellers do not plan what to tell. High ticket sellers plan what to ask the customers. And if I may ask each one of you, so that we can participate in a conversation, what are the fundamental differences in between a low value sale and a high ticket sales? Write down your responses in the chat box. What are the fundamental differences which are there in selling a low value product or service and a high value sales? आपके हिसाब से क्या-क्या fundamental differences है? Write down in the chat box and we'll share. What do you think are the fundamental differences which are there in a low value product or service and a high value product service? Pankaj has given the first response. Pankaj says high value sales for long-term earning. Okay. I'll understand from you in detail, Pankaj, what do you mean by that? There is Nadim who's raising his hands, but I think I want you to write down in the chat box because it would be difficult right at the start to start inviting, having a conversation. The entire approach, Atul says, is different and the need of the client is very, very important. Yeah. Any other difference, any other logical difference that you see if we have to become a high value ticket seller? What do you mean by that? Ulhas says with high value sales, you can gain the customer for lifetime. Kamal says value difference, seriousness and stake, and long-term prospects. Yeah, theoretically correct. Understanding the customer. Any other thing? Ravindra says low cost, high quantity, high cost, low quantity. He's talking about some framework. I'll understand from Ravindra later what is the framework all about. Informing should be low and asking should be high. Ranjana says that the behavior of giving should be less and the behavior of seeking and gathering information should be high. Am I correct, Ranjana? This is what you mean? Informing low and asking high? Say yes or no, Ranjana? Yes, fantastic. So I think at least we are warming up for the discussion. Let me share my screen and share with you what do you mean by high ticket sales. A high ticket sales is a sales approach that prioritizes seeking of customer needs through open dialogue to provide appropriate solutions. How many of you want to know today, by the end of this webinar, on what are the things that you need to practice which can help you become a high value seller? First of all, let me tell you that in this 40-minute, you will not become a high value seller. You will have to practice one behavior at a time, what I'm going to teach you today, for the rest of your life. This is not a 2-minute noodle webinar where you will find something which you can immediately start using it. These are behaviors of low value product services seller. But if you want to become a high ticket seller, sell large high ticket size deals, then there are certain behaviors that I'm going to share which you need to understand. Have conversation with me in this webinar and I can tell you what are the things that you need to practice on. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen once again and share with you some fundamental differences. Let me summarize. The first thing is what I call length of the sales cycle. The first fundamental difference in between a low value sale and a high value sale is the length of the sales cycle. And these are the fundamental differences. Number one, low value sales can often be completed in one sales call. Yes or no? Write down chat box. Yes, no? Write down in the chat box. Yes or no? So that we are on the same page. Number two, in a low value sales scenario, buying decision is taken there with the seller present. In a low value product selling, let's say if somebody from our team is selling this webinar and the program that we sell, it's a low value product or service. The buying decision can be taken by you during the call with our advisor, then and there. Yes or no? You want it, you don't want it, you can take a call. Yes or no? It's a low value product or service. But if I'm selling a project to you which is more than a crore, then many behaviors which are relevant for a low value sales scenario will become irrelevant for a high value scenario. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me? Yes or no? Fantastic. Number 3 point is, I have a question for you. How much of a sales presentation do potential customer remember when you are selling a high value product or service, a high ticket sales? What do you think? How much of a sales presentation do potential customer remember? I'm doing a stop share now and I want you to answer the question. How much of your presentation do potential customer remember in a high value sales scenario? कितना याद रहता है अगर कोई हाई टिकट सेल्स करने जा रहा है तो आप जो बताते हैं अपने प्रोडक्ट और सर्विस के बारे में उसके बारे में कितना याद रहता है कस्टमर? Write down your in the chat box. What are the things that people will remember? बहुत कम याद रहता है. हाँ, Faisal, your answer is appropriately right. धीरे धीरे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट टू कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के केस में हाई वैल्यू सेल्स में प्रेजेंटेशन का कम्युनिकेशन बहुत कम याद रहता है. Also, I want to ask you a question now. What are the different phases of a high value sales call? How many phases are there of a high value sales call? A high ticket sales call has how many phases? Write down in the chat box. कितनी है? Faisal, while you are writing 3, if you can also write what, name them, name the 3. Then I will also share what my experience has been so that we can collectively learn from each other. How many stages are there in a high value, high ticket sales call? So Faisal has written 3. Any other person who is in the business of high value sales? What are the different phases of a high value sales call? Okay, so let me write it down. The first phase in a high value sales call is called, I've written it in the chat box. I'm going to write for everyone. Please make a note of it. Number 1 is called, the first is called, hello, the first is called preliminaries. Hello, yes, no, have you got it? Have you got my message in the chat box? And what do you mean by preliminaries? What do you mean by preliminaries? What do you mean by preliminaries? Anyone? Let's participate. Let's understand each other. Can I write the answer? Can I write the answer in the chat box? Preliminary means all the warming up events at the start of the call. All the warming up events at the start of the call. Can you give me an example of warming up events that we do at the start of the call? So Ravindra has written introduction. Atul has written basic information. What are the warming up events that we need to do at the start of the call in a high value sales scenario? I'm not talking about if you're selling milk at a shop. Give me some examples of warming up events that we do at the start of the call. Give me some examples quickly. Kamal, incorrect answer. We don't share USPs of services or product. This is a behavior of a low value product or service seller. Incorrect answer, Kamal. Warming up events means no high value seller or product or service seller does USP selling at the start of the call. Please remember this, Kamal. Note it down. This is a behavior of a small value or a low value product or service seller. Never ever do that. Okay. No USP selling is done by somebody who's selling high value products or services. We don't demonstrate capability before we establish the need of the customer. Remember this always. This is a don't completely. How many phases I've shared so far? Can any one of you tell me how many phases of a sales call? A high ticket sales? कितनी बताइए? हैं 4. पहली कौन सी है? Preliminaries. Can everyone write down, if you are able to listen to me, how many I have told? Write down 4 in the chat box. Write down 4 in the chat box. So that I know you guys are there with me. We are in sync with each other. We are talking to each other. We are listening to each other. Fantastic. और first कौन सा बताया मैंने? First कौन सा बताया? What is the first one that I have told? What is the first phase I have told? Can anyone? Fantastic, Atul. Very good. You were very, very quick. Atul Naidu. Thank you, Chaitanya. Let's look at the second one. The second phase is called investigating. These are phases of a sales call. You do introduction of self, introduction of the company, you seek permission to ask questions and make notes. This is warming up events that we do before the sales call, right at the start of the call. Second phase of a sales call in a high value scenario is called investigating. What do you mean by investigating? What do we do in this stage? What do you mean by second phase? Investigating. Hello? Yes, correct. Correct answer. Asking questions, try to know the needs. Please make notes properly. In the second phase, we do this. Finding out information, facts and needs. The third phase is called demonstrating capability. And what do you mean by this phase? इस phase में क्या करता है high value seller? What does a high ticket seller do in this stage? Stage number 3, which is called demonstrating capability. They show that you have got something worthwhile to offer. And fourth stage is called any guesses for the fourth stage? Any guesses for the fourth stage? Fourth stage is called obtaining commitment, which is gaining an agreement to proceed for further stages of a sales call. I will go all the 4 stages in this webinar today, one by one with you. What are the things that we need to be mindful of? I'm going to now ask you a question, and each one of you need to give me a response in yes or no. Shall I start rapid fire? Shall we start the rapid fire round? Yes, no. I'm going to make a statement. You have to tell me whether it is true or false. The statement goes like this, that there is no single way to open a sales call in high ticket sales. True or false? Write down your answer. There is no single way, or there is no single best way to open a sales call in high ticket sales. Yes or no? True or false? So let me talk to Faisal and understand why has he written true. Faisal, I want to invite you for a conversation. Faisal, you are allowed to talk. You can unmute yourself and let's talk. Faisal, you can unmute yourself. Hey, Faisal.
Yeah, am I audible, sir?
Loud and clear, Faisal.
Sir, the reason why I said that there is no single way is that high ticket sales are also being done by people who don't have any knowledge with regards to big deals. Okay, like this is what all we are doing today has been going on since long. And people have been into high ticket sales and big value transactions. So I believe there is no single way whereby you can like pitch to the other person when wherever high ticket sales is concerned.
So your answer is correct, number one. And I congratulate you for that. That's the first lesson.
Thanks. Thank you, sir.
Successful people who are in the business of high ticket selling, Faisal,
Yeah.
rarely open 2 calls in exactly the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, sir.
They customize.
Right, sir. Right.
I'm
Correct.
repeating, successful salespeople who are in the business of high ticket sales rarely open 2 different calls in exactly the same way. वो रट कर नहीं जाते हैं,
बराबर, परफेक्ट सर,
याद
परफेक्ट
करके नहीं जाते हैं.
जी जी
क्या?
जी सर.
और दूसरा, अगर आप किसी ऐसे स्कूल से आए हैं फैसल, मतलब मैं
जी.
आपके बारे में नहीं कह रहा हूं, सबके लिए कह रहा हूं. इफ यू हैव कम फ्रॉम अ स्कूल where you have been taught to create some interest generating statement or general benefit statement right at the start of the call, or an elevator pitch or a USP pitch right at the start of the call, they have drawbacks in high value sales.
Yes sir, I agree.
And they should be used with caution.
Yes
Here's
sir.
my first advice to the audience who is present in the business of high ticket selling webinar today. Thank you, Faisal, for a small talk with me. Thank you very much for being a sport. Yeah, that was Faisal for us, who participated in a small conversation, and those who give answers, I will keep on sharing with you. Now, another statement that I want to highlight. Please be very, very alert while listening to me. How many phases of a sales call I have told you? कितनी बताई हैं? How many phases of a sales call? 4. Name them, Chaitanya. कौन-कौन से थे? Name them, Chaitanya. कितने थे? कौन-कौन से थे? Second क्या है? Information नहीं है अतुल. It is investigation. Investigating. अतुल, information नहीं है, investigating है. Third क्या है? Demonstration. Kamal, very good. And fourth क्या है? Fourth क्या है? Fourth क्या है? Obtaining commitment. It is not called agreement to proceed, it is called obtaining commitment. Page 3, absolutely correct. रूबिया फारूकी, बिल्कुल ठीक बताया आपने. ठीक है. Second question to all of you, if you want to become a high ticket seller, which kind of questions do successful high ticket sellers use? Open questions or closed questions in high value sales? कौन से यूज करने चाहिए? ओपन क्वेश्चन ज्यादा यूज करने चाहिए या क्लोज ज्यादा यूज करने चाहिए? बताइए, ओपन क्वेश्चन ज्यादा यूज करने चाहिए या क्लोज क्वेश्चन ज्यादा यूज करने चाहिए? कुछ लोगों ने लिखा है ओपन, कुछ लोगों ने लिखा है क्लोज्ड. दोनों ही आंसर इनकरेक्ट हैं. 1937 में पहली बार एक जेंटलमैन थे जिनका नाम था E.K. स्ट्रॉन्ग, जिन्होंने ओपन और क्लोज्ड क्वेश्चंस के डिफरेंशिएशन को समझाया था. और आज रिसर्च ये कहती है कि ओपन क्वेश्चंस या क्लोज्ड क्वेश्चंस का लार्जर सेल्स में सक्सेस के साथ कोई रिलेशनशिप नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप ओपन क्वेश्चन ज्यादा पूछोगे तो इन लार्जर सेल्स उसका अल्टीमेट आउटकम पर ज्यादा फर्क पड़ेगा, या क्लोज क्वेश्चन ज्यादा पूछोगे तो उसका आउटकम पर फर्क पड़ेगा. The impact is of how you are using it, when you are using it, and whether you know how to probe and when to probe. It has nothing to do with open and closed. तो कुछ लोगों के आज फंडामेंटल्स हिल रहे होंगे जो मैं बता रहा हूं, और अगर किसी पिछले ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम में आपको ऐसा बताया गया है तो या तो वो व्यक्ति जिसने आपको बताया वो खुद हाई वैल्यू सेलर नहीं है, यानी उसने खुद हाई वैल्यू सेलिंग नहीं करी है, या वो रिसर्च करके या रिसर्च के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट नहीं है। नंबर 3, अब मेरा तीसरा सवाल है, हाई वैल्यू सेल्स में बेनिफिट का मतलब क्या होता है? व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय बेनिफिट इन अ हाई टिकट सेल सिनेरियो? व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय बेनिफिट इन अ हाई वैल्यू सेल्स, हाई टिकट सेल्स? मेरा पहला सवाल आपसे, अगला सवाल यह है कि व्हाट डू यू बेसिकली, व्हाट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ अ बेनिफिट? ट्रेडिशनल डेफिनेशन बेनिफिट का क्या है? बेनिफिट का ट्रेडिशनल डेफिनेशन क्या है? बेनिफिट का ट्रेडिशनल डेफिनेशन ये है कि आप ऐसा कोई स्टेटमेंट बोलते हैं जिससे ये पता चलता है कि हाउ योर प्रोडक्ट कैन बी यूज्ड और कैन हेल्प द कस्टमर। यू मेक अ स्टेटमेंट on how your product or service can be used or can help the customer. Yes or no? बट रिसर्च ये बताती है कि ये डेफिनेशन करेक्ट है स्मॉलर सेल्स में, और ये डेफिनेशन इनकरेक्ट है लार्जर सेल्स में। लार्जर सेल्स में अगर आपके प्रोडक्ट और सर्विस का फायदा किसी कस्टमर की स्टेटेड नीड से मैच कर जाता है जो कस्टमर ने एक्सप्रेस किया है, तब वो उसको बेनिफिट मानता है। Which means that the most effective type of benefit shows how your product or service meets an explicit need or a stated need expressed by the customer. मैंने कुछ बातें कही हैं अभी तक, जो लोगों ने देर से ज्वाइन किया उनको रिपीट कर रहा हूं। In a high value sales, there are 4 phases of a sales call. The first phase is called preliminaries. The second phase is called investigation. Third phase is called demonstrating capability, and fourth phase is called obtaining commitment. After that, I defined what these 4 phases are. Then I asked a question that does opening of the sales call happen in the same way in a large value sale? The answer is no, because successful high ticket sellers do not use 2 different calls in the same way. Second, they focus on the investigation phase. And third, the definition of benefit, which is similar in a smaller sale scenario, is very different in a larger sale scenario. Now the next question, does closing techniques work in larger sales, high ticket sales? Yes or no? Write down your answer. Does closing technique work in larger sales? Answer true or false? So let me talk to Atul. Atul, you are allowed to talk. You can unmute and let's talk. You said yes, true. So help me understand. Why do you say true?
Yeah, closing techniques are always useful in closing actually. No? So the customer actually agrees for the in their sale process. So he might be stuck at the last moment. So he can, if it is clear, then that due to that closing techniques, the sale will be happen. What I feel.
तो थियोरेटिकली ना यही सिखाया गया लोगों को, ठीक है. एंड रिसर्च क्या कहती है? रिसर्च इसका एब्सोल्युटली अपोजिट कहती है. ये टेक्निक बहुत इफेक्टिव है, क्लोजिंग टेक्निक्स बहुत इफेक्टिव है और सेल्स के या ऑब्टेनिंग कमिटमेंट के चांसेस को बढ़ाती हैं इन लो वैल्यू सेल्स. बट इन हाई वैल्यू सेल, if you use more closing techniques during the sales process, the customer gets an impression that you are a little pushy, because of which, in fact, the chances of it becoming successful becomes lesser. Are we good? What do successful high ticket sellers do? What do successful high ticket sellers do, Atul? Instead of using closing techniques, they do the following. Number one, they first check whether they have covered the key concerns of the customer or not. Number two, they summarize the benefits of taking the product or service from them.
Right.
And then they propose the appropriate solution, whichever is relevant for getting the commitment from them. They don't use any rata-rataya closing technique. Because research says in high value sale, if you will appear as a guy who's pushy, then the chances of that guy moving away from the commitment is higher. और उसका कारण क्या है? Because the risk of taking that decision is relatively higher. तो सेल्स वाले का सबसे बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट स्किल हाई टिकट सेलर में क्या है? What is the single most important skill which is required for a high ticket seller? Can you guess? The single most important skill which is required for being a high ticket seller is this. क्या दिखाई दे रहा है स्क्रीन पर?
Building perceived value is the single most important skill in large. Perceived value means what?
You tell me, what do you mean by perceived value?
If that client gets what he wants exactly, so that sale will happen automatically.
अगर मैं मान लो एग्जांपल के तौर पर, just to get into a conversation with you, I think I'm also helping clarify doubts of other people. Thank you for participating, Atul, in this small talk. Okay. अगर एक weighing machine है ना, एक तराजू है और एक साइड क्या है? एक साइड क्या है? लेट्स से प्राइस है.
ओके.
और एक साइड क्या है? परसेप्शन ऑफ वैल्यू है. अगर किसी ग्राहक को प्राइस ज्यादा लगा वैल्यू से, प्राइस का तराजू ज्यादा लगा वैल्यू से, तो वो बाइंग डिसीजन लेगा?
नहीं.
और अगर उसको वैल्यू ज्यादा लगा प्राइस से, तो बाइंग डिसीजन लेने के चांसेस बढ़ जाते.
बराबर.
मान लीजिए आपको अपने बच्चे का एडमिशन कराना है यूएस के किसी कॉलेज में, जहां पर फीस आपको जाएगी 3 साल में लेट्स से 60 लाख रुपए. It's a high value sale.
Right.
The person who's selling that education is not selling, let's say, a biscuit or a milk pack. तो उसको क्या करना होगा? आपके दिमाग में वहां जाने की वैल्यू को क्या करना होगा? इसका वजन बढ़ाना होगा. This is called perception of value. फोन लावा भी बनाता है, फोन एप्पल भी बनाता है. जब लोग एप्पल लेते हैं तो उनको क्या दिखाई देता है? वैल्यू दिखाई देती है प्राइस से. ब्रांड दिखाई देता है प्राइस से, है ना? प्राइवेसी दिखाई देती है प्राइस से. यस नो?
यस.
जो लोग मारुति की कार सेल करते हैं, अगर वो सेम व्यक्ति बिना किसी ट्रेनिंग और एजुकेशन के मर्सिडीज के शोरूम में गाड़ी बेचने लगे, तो उसको क्या समस्याएं आती हैं? What is the challenge that he faces?
Value brand making of that product.
वो वैल्यू, परसीव्ड वैल्यू को बड़ा नहीं कर पाता. वो क्या करना शुरू कर देता है? सर हमारी गाड़ी के 6 कलर हैं, हमारी 540 लीटर का बूट है, इसके एसी आगे हैं और पीछे हैं, इसमें एक एप्पल कार का प्ले सिस्टम है. Instead of understanding the needs of the customer and creating value for him or her for that specific customer, he starts preparing to tell. And the people who prepare to tell, instead of asking, are people whose behavior is aligned with low value selling.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Right. Yeah.
Have I been able to explain?
Yes, sir. Yes,
शब्दों में बात समझ में आ रही है?
Yes, sir.
तो जो चीजें, ये अतुल थे, जो चीजें काम करती हैं लो वैल्यू सेलिंग में, वो हाई वैल्यू सेलिंग में काम नहीं कर रही. अब मुझे ये बताइए, if there is anyone who can share with me, is there a model which can be used for uncovering and developing customer needs? Is there a model? Is there a model available in the market so that we can prepare our sales team and ourselves for selling high value products or services? ये आदत को शिफ्ट करना है ना, क्वेश्चन पूछना. तो कैसे इन्वेस्टिगेशन करना चाहिए, क्या करना चाहिए इन्वेस्टिगेशन करने के लिए? इज देयर अ मॉडल व्हिच इज अवेलेबल? Is there a model which is available? Yes or no? अच्छा चलिए, let me simplify. What are the kind of questions which high value sellers ask? Write down in the chat box, what are the kind of questions which high ticket sellers ask? What are the kind of questions which high value sellers normally ask? Please write down your responses in the chat box. मुश्किल है सवाल, एक भी जवाब नहीं आया, मुश्किल है. What are the kind of questions? पहला सवाल, not knowing. चलिए, कम से कम एक अच्छा आंसर तो दिया, एक ऑनेस्ट आंसर तो दिया फैसल ने. ऑब्जेक्शन हैंडलिंग क्वेश्चंस कौन से होते हैं? कैटेगरी ऑफ क्वेश्चंस, इसके नाम कुछ भी हो सकते हैं. एक कैटेगरी ऑफ क्वेश्चंस जो हाई वैल्यू सेलर्स पूछते हैं उसको कहते हैं बैकग्राउंड क्वेश्चंस. ये क्वेश्चंस क्या करते हैं? व्हाट डू दीज क्वेश्चंस डू? हेलो, व्हाट डू दीज क्वेश्चंस डू? Give me an example of a background question. Let me talk to Kamal Chawla. I think he has been attempting to answer question. Let me talk to him. Kamal, when you say we ask background questions to understand the customer, what do you mean? पहले आप define करिए कि background questions क्या है. Kamal, are you there?
Background questions are related to what he has been doing in the past, what exactly in business in which he is, what business he is doing, how he is doing, how he is conducting the business, and to unearth और अनकवर द थिंग्स की उसकी जो रिक्वायरमेंट है वो हम कैसे हमारा प्रोडक्ट या सर्विसेज वो कैसे फुलफिल कर सकते हैं, इससे रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस जो है.
Would you mind if I can ask you a few questions?
Pardon?
Would you mind if I can ask you something?
Yes, please.
So what do you do, Kamal?
I'm into pharmaceutical business.
And since how long have you been into this business?
Since last 20 plus years.
and it's your own business. Hello, it's your own business.
Yes, it is my own business.
Yeah. ये जो वार्मिंग अप कर रहे हैं, आप क्या से इको आ रही है कमल जी? आपका माइक से इको आ रहा है, आप अपने आप को म्यूट कर लीजिए। मैं जब आपको पूछने के कहीं से आई थिंक आप अपने आप को म्यूट कर लीजिएगा। कमल जी, मैं आपको म्यूट कर रहा हूँ जानबूझ के, क्योंकि आपके यहाँ से इको आ रही है। आपका माइक से मेरी आवाज वापस फीडबैक की तरीके से आ रही है, तो जब आपको अनम्यूट करना होगा मैं अनम्यूट कर दूंगा। ये जो मैं आपसे पूछ रहा था, ये सारे क्या हैं? बैकग्राउंड क्वेश्चंस है। क्या बैकग्राउंड क्वेश्चंस, माय डियर फ्रेंड्स? कमल जी से मैं बात कर रहा हूं, बाकी लोगों के लिए भी कह रहा हूं। बैकग्राउंड क्वेश्चंस हमको हेल्प करते हैं ये जानने में कि व्हाट द कस्टमर इज डूइंग नाउ। आप कमल जी, आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर लीजिए।
Yes, done.
If you ask too many background questions in a high ticket selling scenario, what would that lead to? अगर कोई सेलर
Involvement of lot
काफी
of
सारे बैकग्राउंड क्वेश्चंस पूछेगा,
जी जी,
तो उससे क्या फायदा, क्या नुकसान होगा?
मे बी कि जो रिलेवेंट क्वेश्चंस हैं उसके लिए टाइम जो रहेगा वो कम रह जाएगा ड्यूरिंग दैट कम्युनिकेशन।
So remember, people who are in the business of high ticket selling use background questions sparingly. क्या मतलब हुआ? बहुत सेलेक्टिव होकर यूज करते हैं। कई बार सिर्फ 2 या 3 क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं। And each of the questions that they ask has a purpose. But they don't ask too many background questions, because if they ask too many background questions, then it can bore or irritate the customer. Yes or no?
Yes.
Who gets more benefited when you are asking a background question? Is it the buyer or the seller?
Both.
It is always the seller when you are asking a background question. उसको तो पता ही है ना उसके बारे में, वो अपना फैक्ट शेयर कर रहा है। अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं कि आपने बिजनेस कब से शुरू किया, तो आपको तो पता ही, आपका कोई वैल्यू एड थोड़ी हो रहा है उस क्वेश्चन पूछने में। दैट इज वाई पोटेंसी जो है क्वेश्चंस की, वो बैकग्राउंड क्वेश्चन की हाई वैल्यू सिनेरियो में सबसे लीस्ट है। क्योंकि फायदा किसका हो रहा है? खाली सेलर का। और अगर हम ज्यादा ऐसे क्वेश्चंस पूछेंगे जिसमें फायदा सेलर का ही हो, तो इट कैन बोर और इरिटेट द कस्टमर। डू यू एग्री विद मी?
राइट।
दैट्स व्हाई in high value sales, background questions are asked only a handful, and they are asked also to warm up the call, to build rapport with the customer, and they are used sparingly. Do you agree with me?
Right.
तो मैं थोड़ा पीछे लेके चलता हूं आप सब लोगों को। अभी तक मैंने क्या क्या बताया? मैं बेसिकली ये समझाने का प्रयास कर रहा हूं कि जितने बिहेवियर, या काफी सारे ऐसे बिहेवियर जो लो वैल्यू सेल्स में काम करते हैं, वो हाई वैल्यू सेल्स में काम नहीं करते। दूसरा इंपॉर्टेंट बात बताई, 4 फेजेस हैं सेल्स कॉल के। एक प्रिलिमिनरीज है, एक इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग है, एक डेमोन्स्ट्रेटिंग कैपेबिलिटी है, एक ऑब्टेनिंग कमिटमेंट है। फिर चारों की परिभाषा बताई, और उसमें से बिल्डिंग परसीव्ड वैल्यू इज द सिंगल मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट स्किल इन अ हाई टिकट सेलिंग सिनेरियो। अब मैं उस फ्रेमवर्क की बात कर रहा था कि हाउ डू यू अनकवर एंड डेवलप नीड्स। तो दूसरा कैटेगरी ऑफ क्वेश्चन जो है, उसको हम कहते हैं, चैट बॉक्स में लिख रहा हूं, मैं जानना चाहता हूं आप में से किसी एक व्यक्ति से कि ये कौन से क्वेश्चंस होते हैं, ये क्वेश्चंस क्या करते हैं? ये कौन से क्वेश्चंस हैं? What is the objective of asking specific problem questions to the customer? Hello? When we are probing for facts, we are asking a background question. When we are probing for problems, difficulties, or dissatisfaction with the existing situation, we are asking specific problem questions. Do you agree with me? नहीं, कस्टमर कमल जी आपका जवाब गलत है. प्रॉब्लम क्वेश्चंस का ऑब्जेक्टिव होता है कस्टमर से जानना कि उसकी प्रॉब्लम्स क्या है, उसकी डिफिकल्टीज क्या है, उसकी डिससैटिस्फैक्शन क्या है विद द एग्जिस्टिंग सिचुएशन. It is to uncover problems, difficulties और dissatisfaction with the existing situation. यहां आप नीड आइडेंटिफाई करने की कोशिश करते हो. और एक और तरीके का क्वेश्चन जो हाई वैल्यू सेलर्स पूछते हैं उसको कहते हैं इफेक्ट क्वेश्चंस. ये सवाल हेल्प करते हैं उन प्रॉब्लम्स के होने वाले इफेक्ट्स को जानने में, कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस को जानने में और इंप्लीकेशंस को जानने में. और हाई वैल्यू सेलर्स देखा गया है एक और तरीके के क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं जिसका नाम है एग्रीमेंट क्वेश्चंस, जिसके थ्रू जो वैल्यू है, जो यूजफुलनेस है, जो बेनिफिट है, जो कस्टमर परसीव कर रहा है इन अ सॉल्यूशन, उसका एग्रीमेंट लेने की कोशिश करते हैं. हाई वैल्यू सेलर्स ये क्वेश्चन क्या सीक्वेंस में पूछते हैं या कोई भी ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है? आंसर दैट इन द चैट बॉक्स. हाई वैल्यू सेलर्स क्वेश्चंस जो पूछते हैं इन अ सीक्वेंस पूछते हैं या कोई भी आगे पीछे हो सकता है. मतलब फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी होनी चाहिए, रिजिड होना चाहिए, सीक्वेंस में पूछना चाहिए या फ्लेक्सिबल रहना चाहिए. तो फैसल ने लिखा मोस्टली सीक्वेंस. ध्यान ये रखिएगा कि जो हाई वैल्यू सेलर हैं, जो हाई टिकट सेलर हैं, वो सीक्वेंशियल नहीं करते हैं. जो फैसल ने लिखा है वो पार्शियली करेक्ट है कि मोस्टली ऐसा ही होता है, लेकिन दे आर एक्सट्रीमली फ्लेक्सिबल. ओके, बिकॉज the frameworks that I am going to share in the sales magnet program is a logical framework but not a rigid sequence. अगर मेरे को ये सारी चीजें इंप्लीमेंट करनी है तो क्या क्या सीखना चाहिए? सबसे पहले आपको ये सीखना चाहिए हाई वैल्यू सेलर बनने के लिए, या अगर आप ऑलरेडी हाई वैल्यू सेलिंग कर रहे हैं तो और बेहतर होने के लिए, you will have to learn how to uncover and develop customer needs. You will have to learn how to focus on the investigating stage is rule number 1. The second thing that you need to learn is that you need to have a bank of background questions for your organization and customize it for your company. Then the second thing is that you need to help and build a question bank on the quantity of problem questions that you can ask. Right now at the start, don't focus on the quality alone, focus on the quantity of the problem questions that you are doing. Ask. If you think that you are doing a good job in uncovering and developing customer needs, then learn how to prepare an effect question also. And then start practicing the agreement questions. The third thing that we need to develop is how do we analyze our problem in terms of problem solving, and keep on doing planning, practicing and reviewing this practice that I am going to share. मैं आज आपको 4 सवाल बता रहा हूं और उसके बाद मैं डिटेल में समराइज करूंगा जिनका आपको ध्यान रखना चाहिए. पहला, हर कॉल के बाद चाहे आप फ्रेमवर्क मेरे से सीखो चाहे आप किसी और व्यक्ति से सीखो, चॉइस इज योर्स। बट अगर आप हाई बिजनेस सेलिंग में हैं, हाई टिकट सेलिंग में हैं, हाई वैल्यू सेल्स में हैं, कंसल्टेटिव सेल्स में हैं, और लो वैल्यू प्रोडक्ट और सर्विस नहीं बेच रहे हैं, then what you need to do is to follow what I have just told you. Okay? And after every call, ask yourself a question that did you achieve your objectives? Number 2, ask yourself that if I have to do this sales call again, what will I do differently? Number 3, what will I learn that will influence future calls in this account? And number 4, what have I learned that I will use elsewhere? कोई रटा रटाया तरीका हाई टिकट सेलिंग का नहीं है। और मैं एक फाइनल वर्ड कहना चाहता हूं, इससे पहले कि मैं आपको डिटेल पूरी की पूरी बताऊं कि आप ये कैसे सीख सकते हैं। एक इंपॉर्टेंट बात जो मैं आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहता हूं वो ये है कि आई एम गोइंग टू शेयर द स्क्रीन नाउ, जस्ट गो थ्रू द सीक्वेंस ऑफ व्हाट वी आर इंटेंडिंग टू कवर। हाउ डू आई cover all of this is what I'm going to share. I'll take you through a journey quickly and share with you how do I intend to teach people who wants to learn high ticket selling. The first thing that I'm going to share is, what do you mean by consultative sales? I'm going to share with you certain exercises that you will learn to practice the behavior. I'm going to openly share the researches which are there. And this would be the design. Number 1, I'm going to teach you 4 modules of high ticket selling. Number 1, opening. Number 2, probing. Number 3, supporting. Number 4, closing. Backed up by a follow-up coaching call with each one of you. I conduct a program called Sales Magnet, in which all these 4 things are covered. Okay. I have already explained to you in this webinar on what this opening means today, what you do in preliminaries, what do you need to do in an investigating phase, what do you need to do in supporting phase, and how do you close, how do you obtain commitment. And I'm going to give you a glimpse of what are the learning objectives of one module, because I'm not going to share everything in this webinar. I'm going to cover all of this in detail in module number 1. I'm going to also talk about what is consultative sales. I'm going to also cover the differences in between the high value sale and low value sale. Then why do you need to learn high ticket selling? What are the applications of consultative selling? What's the buying cycle that we are going to use? What are the steps of sales that we are going to use? And step by step, teach you how to customize your sales process in your organization. Okay. My question to all of you is, do you already have a customized written sales process for your organization? Yes or no in the chat box. Do you have a documented sales process for your organization that you can use to train your people on? Yes or no? So Ravindra has written no. Let me talk to Ravindra. Let me talk to Ravindra. And here we go. Ravindra, are you there? You are allowed to talk. Ravindra, are you there? You can unmute yourself, Ravindra. Ravindra, you can unmute.
Yeah, I'm already.
So you have written that you don't have a documented sales process for high value selling scenario. Tell me a little about yourself.
We are into engineering manufacturing for last 10 years.
And who's your target customer?
The engineering industry itself.
So when you say engineering industry, what do you mean?
The parts which we manufacture are used basically in the engineering industry only.
So give me an example of type of customers that you normally target.
Not specific.
No, I'm saying who are your target customers? Is it automobile? Is it which kind of segment, which kind of target customers that you usually target?
Basically automobiles.
Automobiles. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gave you a hint, that's why. So, and how big is the automobile target customer universe? How many companies are there?
Can't figure out.
And how many team members do you have in your organization?
No, we are a small organization, around 10 people overall.
Yeah. And if you do not have a documented sales process,
Right.
what does that lead to?
Basically, we are not into big value selling.
I'm asking you, if you do not have a sales process written,
Yes.
what's the consequence of that? अगर आपके पास लिखा हुआ नहीं है sales process, तो उसका consequence क्या होता है?
It will not have any methodology.
And if you don't have the methodology of selling, what would be the consequence of that?
Results will be haywire.
Yeah. So, and how many people are actually selling your products or services? कितने लोग हैं जो जाकर कस्टमर से बात करते हैं?
Usually myself.
Okay. And so you have got a very, very small team, handful of. So
Yes.
How satisfied are you with the productivity of yourself when you are interacting with the customers? How productive you are?
Naturally,
On a
I'm
scale
very
of 1 to 10,
satisfied.
let's say
8 or 9.
8 or 9. So you are fairly doing okay. And what do you think is the gap which can take you to 10 or 9?
Maybe the selling skill.
And
For
without
me,
selling skills, you are saying that you are 8 or 9 on the scale.
it is out of my experience.
Fair.
But I'm still falling short of selling skill.
Yes. And this has been the case, Ravindraji, that whatever we learn from our experience, we think that would be applicable in selling all situations also. We are as unique as our thumbprint. And I request each one of you that any one of you who is in the same shoes as Mr. Ravindra, who wants to learn and become sales magnet, I run a workshop, which is an 8-day workshop. It is of 2 hours each. It's a 16-hour workshop that I conduct. If you want to know how to make your sales team productive, then this Sales Magnet program is for you. If you struggle with managing either inquiries or processing of orders and you are struggling in between the two, then this workshop is for you. If you are struggling in hiring the right sales team members and you don't have an interview process of the sales team, this Sales Magnet program is for you. If you do not have a documented sales process, this workshop is for you. And if you do not have a structured mechanism to review your sales team, this workshop is for you. If you want to learn these 5 things and at least 21 strategies to increase your sales process, and also look forward to getting support from a coach who has been there, done that. My name is Dr. Akshay Seth. I am a sales growth specialist. I can teach you in 16 hours all of this. And I will be available for providing online support to you every week, once on Sunday from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. all throughout my life. तो प्रोग्राम खत्म कर लेने के बाद प्रोग्राम भूल नहीं जाने देंगे, लगातार आपसे आकर हर संडे को 7 से 8 पूछते रहेंगे. तो अगर आपको एक ऐसा कोच चाहिए जो आपको पहले बताए, फिर आपको हैंड होल्ड करे फॉलो अप कोचिंग सेशंस के द्वारा हर संडे को 7 to 8 अनलिमिटेड नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स। तो हमारा नया बैच शुरू होने जा रहा है एंड आई वुड इनवाइट उत्कर्ष जुनेजा टू शेयर द डिटेल्स अबाउट व्हेन इज द नेक्स्ट बैच स्टार्टिंग एंड it would be the 38th batch that we are going to start very soon. So Utkarsh, if you're there, if you can share the details, when are we starting, and share the link in the chat box. Utkarsh, are you there? Can we talk to each other?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Why don't you share how has been the experience, because you have sold them.
Correct.
आज मैं रिवर्स काम कर रहा हूं। मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं कि जिन 37 लोगों को, 37 बैचेस को आप सेल्स मैग्नेट प्रोग्राम में पिछले 2 या 3 साल में लेके आए,
करेक्ट,
मेजरली इस प्रोग्राम में क्या सीखने को मिलता है वो, और दूसरा इस बार रिवर्स है, मैं नहीं बताऊंगा, आप बताइए। और दूसरा, कब से शुरू होने वाला है हमारा नया बैच, कितनी देर का होता है, और कैसे हम संडे कोचिंग कम्युनिटी में क्या करते हैं। So your time starts now.
So we would be starting with our 38th batch on 16th of November, right after the Diwali. And to give you the outline of the program, it happens for a 8-day regular workshop. It happens usually in the morning 7 to 9. And so what happens usually, I mean, this is I'm sharing for everyone, कि हम बहुत सारी ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम करके छोटा कैप्सूल ले लेते हैं एंड वी गेट मोटिवेटेड। 10 दिन का प्रोग्राम करा एंड उसके बाद हम मोटिवेट हो गए कि करेंगे मरेंगे वंदे मातरम, एंड उसके बाद दैट मोटिवेशन लेवल कम्स डाउन ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. So we at School of Inspirational Leadership have built a mechanism that how people we can contribute to them at their execution level, because when you would be learning in this entire 8-10 days, you would not be facing any challenges. You will be getting a hormone release in your body which will motivate you, because you will be seeing certain clarity in your business that yes, I can do this. Hence, when you go into the market to execute these things, that's when you will be facing challenge. So like Akshay sir was mentioning that about Sunday community. So Sunday community is all about learning new things from each other, and also about discussing on the challenges that you're facing at the execution level in the market. So that is the overall outlook, and how I have seen people evolving through this program. I mean, I can say that people who have attended in the first batch is now conducting this kind of a workshop in their premises. So that is the impact this program has.
Guys, I have a very, very serious offer to make. Join the workshop now by paying, and if you don't find it meaningful, after 48 hours, take the full refund from Utkarsh Juneja.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
And when I'm saying Utkarsh Juneja, don't ask him to pay, but we will, as School of Inspirational Leadership, we'll refund your money. This is the best offer that I can make to you, to make sure that you obviously you will get to know the taste of our products or services. Also, don't rely on what I'm saying, because I may be also cheating you by selling. Please talk to those people who have gone through the experience in the last 3 years. If you think that the perceived value of what they got vis-a-vis 10,000 rupees or 9,999 rupees that we are asking is more, then only please join, otherwise don't join. Okay, the details are there in the chat box. What we will give you is very simple. We will give you 8 days of training, which basically means 16 hours. We will give you a chance for talking to me for 60 minutes so that you can also share with me your personal challenges. You will get learning videos. You will get 10 tools in the workshop to implement one per session. You will get a 26-point checklist to measure implementation of the workshop. And you will become a membership of a community, which is lifelong learning community, where you will get lifelong coaching every Sunday from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. ये सारा कुछ लाइफ लॉन्ग की पढ़ाई ये सिर्फ 9,999 रुपए में. तो अगर आपको लगता है कि आपको लगता है सेलिंग इंपॉर्टेंट स्किल है, अगर आपको लगता है कि आपको झिझक होती है लोगों से पैसे मांगने में, come and talk to me about it. I will handhold you and take you to a beautiful journey of a human being and explain you when I say who you are is how you sell, you will be able to achieve that. God bless each one of you. Today's objective was to only share with you a trailer of what is the difference in between a low value sale and a high ticket sale. But what we are going to intensively cover in a 16-hour workshop, get in touch with our team members, and those who are interested in booking a call with them, please write Y in the chat box. Our team of advisors will reach out to you and take you and explain you and answer your questions, if any. I'm signing off from Gurgaon.
One offer which we give usually on the webinar day, Akshay sir, is that, I mean, this is for everyone. People who register today's in this session or in next 4 or 5 hours, they would get an opportunity to have a 1 hour of personal conversation with Dr. Akshay Seth. It would be a complete one-to-one coaching, and you know, so that is itself a worth of 15 to 20,000 rupees, right? So that will come straight as a you know, contribution from our side. But this is for the next 4 hours. This is not a you know, selling pitch or a webinar pitch usually the marketers do, but genuinely the intention is that you know, we contribute to you on an individual level. Hence, people who takes decision faster, we should appreciate them. So yes, so that would be the contribution from SIL.
So that's it from our side. Signing off from Gurgaon. My name is Dr. Akshay Seth. I represent an organization called School of Inspirational Leadership. Wish you guys all the best. Register for the last date is coming soon. We are currently running the 37th batch. 38th batch is starting from 16th of November. Please do reach out to all our advisors and ensure that we will ensure that they answer your questions. All the best. Bye bye.